Councilman Bradford, let's pray.
Let's pray. Gracious God, we come again, Lord, thanking you for this day and just for your blessings and all your goodness. We come in this Thanksgiving season just happy that we are able to serve our city, our citizens. Continue to be with us and bless us as we carry on the work of this city. Lord, I ask special blessings on our mayor, Mayor Tyler, who suffered a loss of her sister. We ask you to lift her up, Lord, and to just let her know that all things work together for good, that love you, that she loves you, and we pray that you would comfort her in this hour. Bless the council members. May all that we do here be pleasing in our sight. It's in thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilman Bradford.
Present.
Councilman Everson.
Here.
Councilman Junior. Councilman Corbin.
Present.
Councilman Flory.
Present.
Councilwoman Lynch. And Councilman Bowles.
Here. Tomorrow, entertain a motion of the minutes, approve the minutes for the administrative conferences on Monday, November 12th, and the council meeting on November 13th. Does any council member have any awards or recognition special guests at this time?
Mr. Chairman, Stacy Brown is here. If you want me to call her.
Yes. Be a good time for Miss Stacy. Come up. Ms. Brown, how you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Bowman, Mayor Tyler, and Council. Appreciate you allowing me to come before you today to tell you a little bit about some of the things we've been working on for 2018 and talk about our budget for 2019. I've got a few extra slides in here, so I won't be showing all of these because I know you've got quite a bit on your agenda today. So I'm going to move pretty quickly, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate, and I'll have some time for that at the end. But I also wanted to say thank you for your appointee, Africa Price. She is on our Convention and Tourist Bureau board, and she's a very dedicated board member and has done a tremendous job. So I wanted to say thank you for her. See if we're connecting. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. Of course, it always works when you're practicing, right?
Can you get somebody to help you, Mr. Chairman? I think they're...
Let me see if I can just do it this way. There we go. This is a video, but I'm actually going to skip the video because I know you've got kind of a quick time frame. But we do a number of videos throughout the year to kind of showcase Shreveport-Bossier, what we have to offer, and really invite visitors to come in. We place a lot of those on YouTube to really encourage people to see our destination as really what it is, a great place to live and visit, instead of some of the negative videos that often come up on YouTube. So we are trying to increase the positive there. One of the things we were also successful at was getting Shreveport-Bossier named as one of 8 destinations within Louisiana as a certified retirement destination. So we were also featured in Where to Retire magazine. We were given an annual Reader's Choice Award for the 4th time by Convention South magazine and their readers. Shreveport was named as the most underrated town in Louisiana by House Method magazine. They named one town within all of the 50 states, or 51 states. So you can go through and see what the other rated towns are. But it talks a little bit about the great things to see and do in our community and why it's really the most underrated town and misunderstood, I guess, for a large part of what all there is to see and do in our community. Our estimated economic impact from tourism has trended up in visitor spending, earnings, and employment throughout the 2018 year. You can see it growing each year from 2015, 16, 17, and then we've also seen increases in 2018. On the right-hand side, you can see we had increases in state taxes as well as local taxes. This is an area that's important as well, international visitors. Often people think, we don't get those here. We actually do. And one of the ways we can track their spending is through a program called VisaView. and it's provided by Visa, and it's the money they've actually spent while in Caddo and Bossier parishes on their Visa card. So these are actual dollars. It doesn't include any cash they may have spent, a MasterCard or other type of credit card they may have used. It's just strictly on their Visa. So you can see Canada is by far our #1 visitor, quickly followed often by Mexico. We do get a number of Chinese visitors, Italy, Germany, United Kingdom. Those are all top ones, and these kind of change a little by each quarter. But you can see that internationals are important to our market. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2019 budget, but next year we're going to be focusing more on leisure visitation, meetings and conventions, and of course sports. These have all shown strong growth this year, and we want to continue that trend into next year. But we all recognize there are challenges. You know, we've got some struggling downtown attractions, increased need for product development, and also looking at a regional brand for our area. So these are some things that are going to be going out in a survey to you, but also to our clients and customers that are coming into Shreveport Bossier, whether as a visitor, a meeting planner, or even an economic developer. So we'd like for you to take that survey and send it on to others, or give us other names and addresses so that we can send it to others. Because the more input we have, the better we can look at our destination as a whole and determine where those needs are. What are we doing well? And where do we need to improve, and what may we need to add to our market. So one of the areas of focus is looking at our product development and destination management. Also making sure that we stay as a strong, financially sound organization, providing a great return on investment for those dollars entrusted to us, and that we also work as a collaborative conduit, bringing the different organizations and governments together to build on Shreveport, Bossier, Caddo, and Bossier parishes as a region. In the communications department, we focus very heavily on public relations. This provides us with a much greater reach than what we could do with just the dollars that we have in ad placement. So year to date, this is through September, we had $2.7 million in public relations value, with over 17,500 media mentions in group, convention, and leisure publications. Our website stats were up considerably. We had over 601,000 website visits, 41% increase over 2017, with over 500,000 page views. One of the things we do is special marketing campaigns during some of those peak times, Mardi Gras being one of them. Through these campaigns, we do part of it online through Expedia, so we can actually track where those people go after they've gone. So once they've clicked on our ad, if they go to Expedia and book a hotel room, we can count them. We know not only how many rooms they booked and consumed, but how much they paid for them. So we can also get a better sense for what is spent on our community on those hotel revenues. So for our Mardi Gras campaign, which is January and February of 2018, we booked 21,388 rooms through Expedia with an average room rate of $97 and over $2 million in hotel revenue. That was up 15% over 2017, and we spent $110,500 on the campaign itself. So you can see our return on investment was very significant. The $2 million represents only their spend on the hotels. That does not count anything they spent in restaurants, in gas stations, in going out shopping or entertainment. So you can see that multiply significantly in our community. Also a summer campaign. This was in June to August of 2018. We booked a little over 35,000 room nights at $96 average rate for a little over $3.5 million in revenue. We actually spent $89,075 on this campaign, and it was 10% increase over last year. And again, this doesn't count if you saw our ad and you said, I'm a loyal Hilton Honors member, I'm going to book through Hilton. This does not track your room night. Or if you saw it, the ad, and then said, I'm going to go to another booking engine other than Expedia, it does not count you. So we know we had at least this many rooms, plus some additional rooms on top of that. In our convention and tourism area, we had 284 meetings on the books for January through December 2018. with over 53,500 room nights, a 28% increase over 2017, with 137,000 delegates for a 49% increase over 2017, and over $15 million in economic impact. We had a number of large conferences last year. Of course, we also hosted the Miss USA and the Miss Teen USA. But we also had some movie productions still, a Heart Energy Gas conference. We are seeing that the oil and gas industry is increasing in our area, but along with that, we're able to attract more meetings in conjunction with that industry. We're also working on family reunions. We hosted, along with SPAR in the city of Shreveport, a family reunion workshop. It was well attended. We actually booked business during that meeting for a number of our hotels. So not only are they looking for meeting space and hotels, restaurants, those kinds of things, they're also looking for overnighters because a lot of their families are doing 300 plus in their family reunion, so they're not all staying at mom and dad's house. They're having to book some hotel rooms too. We also are focusing more on what we call FIT market, or frequent individual travelers. These are largely internationals, and they're using receptive operators. So we're working more on developing more receptive operators for our community to connect with those international visitors. And, of course, a refocus on the oil and gas market. Sports is also
Stacey,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Sometimes you listen to a presentation like this and people throw out terms, and I pick it up after a second.
Sorry. I tend to use a lot of acronyms.
What is a receptive operator?
Okay. So that is a person who kind of goes between the traveler or a travel agent and the hotel. So most travel agents over in Germany don't know much about our hotels. So they're connecting with a receptive operator who has then gone out and booked rooms with, say, Remington Suites. They use a lot of bed and breakfasts and things like that. So they have gone and done a contract with those. They then broker that to a tour operator or a travel agent.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I tend to use a lot of acronyms and industry terms.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, Jerry knew all about
I
receptive
know.
operators. He forgot this one.
Dial zero.
Like a party line.
It doesn't hurt to ask. In the sports area, we booked 98 events in 2018 compared to 102 in 2017. However, we booked more room nights in connection with those. So a little over 26,000 room nights compared to 24,000 in 2017. With over 158,963 people compared to 107,000 in 2017. And here's a good number. Usually when you hear people say we're over budget, you flinch and you're thinking expenses. Well, this was 170% over budget in our revenue for sponsorships and tickets. So we did extremely well in going out and looking for additional funding. So one of the things we said when we generated the tax is we're not going to just use those tax dollars. We're going to use this as a catalyst to go out and find private industry and private businesses that want to be connected with these events. And we're going to find that sponsorship dollar. And we've been very successful at doing that. Then we've also said, you know, here we have a hot air balloon championship, which we have to pay a bid fee for and some other expenses. Why not create a festival around it and make it pay for itself by generating ticket revenue, as well as sponsorship dollars for that. So that's another thing that we've done to increase that ability to go out and then create more sporting events and assist more events. So we had over 18,000 in attendance at the balloon rally this year, and we could not do that without our volunteers. We had over 2,100 volunteers, volunteer time throughout the year with our sporting events. And so we really appreciate all that they do. We also said we want to work more with our rural areas, and not just with our traditional venues, but our non-traditional venues. What are those rivers and lakes and other venues such as bringing in a monster truck nationals out at the Boot Hill Speedway? What other things do we have out in the rural areas that we can utilize? So we've been successful in bringing a number of those as well. Such as the Monster Truck Nationals. We also collaborated with the town of Blanchard and the Caddo Parish School Board in bringing in a U.S. twirling competition. So we also look for non-traditional sports. One of those we've been have attracted for March of 2019 is a kayak bass fishing national. So we'll have probably about 1,200 kayaks coming to town, and they'll be fishing on several different lakes and bodies of water throughout Caddo and Bossier parishes while they're here. Of course, as we all know with fishermen, they're very avid, and not only do they come for their event, they come before that because they want to pre-fish and get to know the different bodies of water and find out what is going to be the best thing for them. Also, we want repeat business. So the Taekwondo Nationals, we have booked them for the 4th year. They love our area. They love the other things to see and do while they're here. So not only the competitors come, but their family and friends as well. Some other events, we hosted the state wrestling tournament. The ALS regional state archery tournament was hosted here at the convention center, and that was the largest archery tournament that has been hosted in this region. So we were very excited to host that as well. Now, if you'll look at your budget, and I apologize, we don't have the pretty printed copies in yet, so you will be receiving a nice printed copy in the mail, and then we will also be sending you our detailed budget business plan as well. But if you look on the very back page of what I handed you, you'll see the Holiday Trail of Lights, Boomer Bus Byway, the Film Office, the Sports Commission Reserve, and Sports Commission Events. These are all divisions of the Bureau. For the Sports Commission Reserve account, one of the things the Sports Commission Board said is we want to set aside funds so that if we have an opportunity for a Bassmaster Classic or a very large event, we will have some money set aside. So they've started every month setting aside 35% of that tax revenue. So that's what those dollars are. Then you see Sports Commission Events. This is the events money. So this is that tax dollar as well as their sponsorship dollars that they raise. Also some funds from the Tourist Bureau that flow into that account as well. If you open it up, you'll see the one page with several columns, and it says admin, convention, tourism, sports, and communication. That sports budget, this is the Bureau budget, and sports within the Bureau budget is the staffing, the sales efforts, all the things it takes to attract those events to our market. So that's what the difference is in those. If you then flip it over to the other side, it says 2018 annual operating budget. So you'll see the 2018 budget compared to the 2019 budget. For our 2018 budget, we expect to come in at pretty close to $4.6 million in our revenue. So one of the things we're doing is setting aside some additional funds as well from the Bureau for if we have some big event come along again, like a Miss USA, we have an opportunity to snag them as well. You'll see for our 2019 budget, we do have a balanced budget there and plan to have a good balance at the end to make sure that we have good cash flow available to the Bureau to operate without any challenges. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I guess we would go with Councilman Corbin and then Councilman Jenkins. But I just wanted to say that I do think that Destination Success was really, I don't know, I guess that caught my eye. And us being underrated. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I know a lot of times people say things negative or, negative impact toward the city. And which is not always a good, it's not a good thing at all. And sometimes we get caught up in certain things and we may add on to that. But I just wanted to say I think that's, I'm glad you point that out, and we need to always promote our city in a positive way. So good work from you all too. I just wanted to say that. Councilman Corbin.
Thank you, Stacy. And can you email the presentation to us?
Absolutely.
Under the slide that had sports events and the number of room nights, and if you don't know the answer, that's fine. You can send it to me in an email. But
yeah, flip back to that real quick.
What sporting event do we see, at least did we see in 2018, that generates the most room nights? Is it soccer? Is it a combination of things?
It's really a combination of a number of different events, but we can break that out and I can get that to you.
I'd just be interested in seeing what's drawing the most room nights.
Let me write that down or I might forget.
Okay. I would have to.
I missed the beginning, so I acknowledge this, and if it all started with that, then I'm sorry I missed that.
That's fine.
I see the budgeted numbers. Can you send us actual revenues?
Yes, I can send you an actual projection.
2018, you have your budgeted numbers, but I'd love to see the actuals next to that.
Our our projected is actually for revenue about
600,000 or 500,000 more, I guess.
right. So it's a little under 4.6, or right at 4.6. Very similar. We budgeted up just a teeny bit for 19. I'd rather be conservative and have some additional revenue than to over budget on our expenses. Our expenses do come in a little bit over the $4 million because we did host the Miss USA, and that was unbudgeted. But because we had the additional revenue, we were able to accommodate that.
If
But
you
I
could
can-
provide that column for us.
I sure can.
As of 1 December, or whatever day is the utmost obvious for you.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you. Councilman Bradford.
Thank you. Let me first thank you and congratulate you on this report. Even the verbal report was very impressive, very appealing.
Thank you.
To your work. And also I want to thank you for your cooperation and support of the Simpkins Gala. Your contribution was very valuable, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
But let me ask you, let me be clear on that. The report, when it came to your highlighting convention and tourism and highlighting sports, that included Bossier Parish.
Yes.
Okay, because I was noticing Bossier Parish makes good contributions to the tourism. I thought very, very balanced in a way.
Yes.
So you mentioned challenges. I can anticipate what some of those are, but tell me, what do you see as our strength in attracting more activity here?
We do have several strengths. One of those, as you've heard me say before, is our wonderful people we have in our community. They are very friendly and welcoming, which is not real common in a lot of places. And that's something we hear from whether it's a general visitor, a meeting planner, a tour operator. They all say one of the things we love about it is the service that we receive and the wonderful people. They love the amenities that we offer. We have a great cost of living and a great cost of a visitor coming to Shreveport Bossier. So our hotels are reasonably priced. Our attractions are reasonably priced. They like the variety that we have to offer. So we have, the adult entertainment with the gaming, but we have a lot of things for kids and families to do as well. So they like that variety. The ease of getting around our communities. You never have to sit real long in traffic. If you go to some other destinations, you have to plan when you're going to certain areas based on the traffic flow and how long it's going to take you to get from one place to another. And they don't really have that worry here. So there are a number of things, the great infrastructure in our communities. We do have a number of great assets. And I was not born and raised here. I choose to live here. And as Councilman Bowman was saying, a lot of times people who were born and raised here often don't realize what a gem they have. And that's not uncommon. It's not something that just happens here. It happens in other communities too. But we tend to beat ourselves up a little more here than some other places do. So that is a challenge because people see our negativity locally. And then that does start to make them wonder, why do I want to go there if they don't like it themselves?
Well, I think there's some contributing factors, and that's another conversation. But I will ask you, and this may be a part of that equation, the diversity of this city, and when we put on or promote certain conventions, certain events, certain activities, the diversity does not show. Can you speak on that?
Actually, we've done extremely well with the diversity of our conventions and meetings, and the social is one of those. The majority of the social conventions that we receive, like the Alpha Kappa Alpha, Delta, there's a number of different ones. We do extremely well on the African American social side. So we, as far as meetings and conventions, I think we do very well on that. I don't have a lot of statistics as far as the general visitation, but that is something that we're working to discover more of.
So, and the budget was very, very well put together. So at the end of our budget session, we just completed those 10 days ago. There's always my wish list. So what do you see as opportunities for the tourism in your area?
One of our biggest opportunities is to work together as communities. When people, and when you saw Most Underrated Town, Shreveport, as you got down into it, they actually talked about Shreveport and Bossier.
Sure.
Visitors and outsiders don't see us as two different communities.
They do not.
They do not.
Okay.
They want to come, and sometimes they'll talk about someplace, and they really don't realize which side of the river on. They don't really care. They just want to have a great time. So looking at a regional brand that encompasses both Shreveport and Bossier City and utilizing all the assets is definitely something that will be a positive for us. And Shreveport Regional Airport, that's another asset. They've done a great job in really developing the air service. The product, if you haven't been out there lately, it's looking fantastic. So that's another positive that I think we're overcoming some of those airfare issues. If you've booked a flight lately, if you've booked it out a little bit, actually recently I've found several times cheaper flights from Shreveport than from Dallas. So that doesn't always happen, but there are times when it does. And so when you're comparing us to a major hub, to be able to sometimes get cheaper flights, that's a big coup. So we've got a number of assets. We do need to look at some of our tourism infrastructure, and that's what we're hoping to do with this study, is kind of identify what are those needs, where can we plug those holes that will make us more attractive to visitors. Developing a more walkable downtown I think, will be a big asset for us. And as we develop more and more downtown, people walk around more, feeling the safety. That's always a positive as well. So I think we've got a lot of great opportunities ahead of us.
Fantastic. And I know Ms. Wayne is also conscientious of how that could build up the downtown. Specifically, we are looking at how we can increase activity in the Red River District. That's a really issue that we really want to see grow. So all you're doing is great and positive, and we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And obviously, I should have written down my questions because I forgot one.
Uh-oh.
Do you know offhand how many hotel rooms we have in Shreveport and how many are available in Bossier?
The total market is a little over 11,000, and it's almost split evenly. There's a little bit more in Shreveport than in Bossier.
Is there, and I guess I have to use like the Priceline rating, is there more 3 and 4 star in either city, or does that kind of balance out as well?
I think it kind of balances out as well.
I know we've talked about full service hotels and the need for full service hotels, and weighing that against the folks who are looking for the cheapest hotel they can get.
Right, and that is important. One thing some markets have a challenge with is having so many what we call limited or select service hotels, which is basically under 100 rooms, no restaurant, just basic services, no meeting space. The challenge with that, those work well for sporting events and some overflow for a convention, but they can't attract business. So in other words, a hotel that's full service, that has meeting space and has a restaurant, they can attract a meeting and be a reason for people to come here. But that limited service really can't. So trying to find that balance is very important, that you not weigh too heavy on the select service to be able to provide a more well-rounded market.
Thanks.
Councilman Fleury.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make this point to Councilman Bradford in regards to what he was saying a while ago. One of the things that would help this scenario here is if Grambling would go to winning again.
No, but let me say one thing. I had a discussion with somebody relative to the Bayou Classic, And their argument, one of the reasons that the Bayou Classic is now permanently in New Orleans is that we don't have enough available hotel rooms. I find that a little bit hard to believe based on when you see the attendance. If there's 11,000 rooms here, do you know what a game like that needs to have for, quote, available hotel rooms for that to make sense?
I would have to do some research. I do know for the Bayou Classic, it's not just the attendance at the game. There are some people that go down for the events that never actually attend the game itself. So you can't just look at the attendance for the game.
And that's probably a better, because I'm like, well, when you see the numbers or whatever the number was, 30, whatever, thousand.
67 There was 67,000 there.
In attendance or tickets?
In attendance. That was the announced attendance.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
so maybe there is some credence to this 11,000 we're having.
45th.
Okay, I was just curious.
It can be a challenge. One of the conventions that we were successful in attracting for 2019 is the Hispanic Amway Conference. And for that, we had to get over 2,000 room nights peak. And that was very difficult to achieve, but we were able to. So we actually have them coming back twice next year. So our room nights are picking up. Our occupancy is getting very strong.
Anyone else?
I want to say a special thank you to Mayor Tyler and Ms. Regal Woods, as well as the other SPAR staff. They did a fabulous job. If you didn't get to attend either the lighting ceremony or Rockets Over the Red, they were both well attended, had an excellent time. The riverfront, if you've not driven down there, looks fabulous. They have really gone above and beyond in making the downtown area definitely a destination for the holidays. So kudos to the staff and all their hard work, Mayor. And I do want to invite you to our open house on Friday, December the 7th. You'll be getting a formal invitation. That's 11 to 2 o'clock. It's come and go, but I'm just warning you. You may want to be a little on the early side. We do have a lot of people that come through our offices that day, but we'd love to host you. And it's a great time to get in and see our staff and see the offices and learn a little bit more about what we do.
Are you ready for the Independence Bowl?
We are ready. I think it's going to be a tremendous Independence Bowl. I'm really excited about all that Walk-Ons has brought to the table, and the staff at the Independence Bowl have really worked very hard in generating some great events. So I don't want to steal their kudos, but they have some wonderful things. So I think it's going to extend the stay of the visitors as well, and that's been one of their primary goals.
And that's the issue, Councilman, with the Bayou Classic. It's not only a game; it's almost like a event thing. You know, I mean, everybody plans a lot of events around that weekend. So it's sort of like they're doing with the Walk-On Independence Bowl.
Right.
Okay. Thank you again. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There's an interesting article, since you said that talks about the amount of the seats and then how many people are in town. And it's a big number for sure.
67,000. All right.
I believe the mayor has not given her.
No, it's just next. Mayor
Thank you.
Tyler.
Thank you so much, Mr. Councilman. Just have some announcements for tomorrow. But I did want to say to Councilman Fleury, Grambling won last year. Okay. And we plan to beat Southern next year. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, well, okay. Mr. Green, anyone have any questions relative to property standards? Anything, Mr. Green? No? See? All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Green. We have a master plan committee report tomorrow from Mr. Clark. And, budget actual. Tomorrow we are required to hold a public hearing on ordinance 115 and ordinance 116 of 2018. Mr. Crawford, do you want to continue with legislation to be added?
Absolutely. We don't have any legislation to be added to the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We have the following request to speak, which is Z. Roll. No appointments, and there are no items on the
Somebody's talking in class.
Give her more time in class. Make her stay late.
No items on the consent agenda. Mr. Crawford, let's continue with items to be adopted.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We're under regular agenda legislation. These are resolutions on second reading and final passage. Resolution 130 authorizes the mayor to execute and accept an acts of donation between the City of Shreveport and Norris Ferry Road, LLC, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through William L. Mayfield for the water and sewer improvements for St. Charles Place Subdivision, Unit Number 16. And Resolution 131 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of an act of donation between the City of Shreveport and Westlake Development, LLC, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through Steve Simon, manager for the streets, drainage, and water and sewer improvements for Long Lake Estates, Unit 23.
Any discussion?
I mean, by the way, did we already do the stuff about public hearing?
He noted that there will be.
He noted that there would be a public hearing.
That's it? All right, Mr. Crawford, please continue.
Mr. Chairman, introduction of resolutions. Resolution 132 authorizes the mayor to accept an act of donation between the City of Shreveport and Ramsey Hoffmeyer Street Development, LLC, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through Chase Hoffmeyer, manager for the water and sanitary sewer mains and related facilities to serve Southern Trace Phase 5, Section 28. Resolution 133 authorizes the mayor to enter into a donation agreement with the City of Grambling Fire Department to donate a retired 1985 Spartan LT1 110-foot ladder truck, VIN S39RT6C02FC643819. And Resolution 134 authorizes a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Shreveport and the Parish of Caddo, Louisiana, relative to providing transit system services for citizens living and working in North Caddo Parish for a one-year trial period. This is to provide service to the Walmart in the Blanchard area. Contract will start on January the 20th and run through December 31st of 2019. Caddo Parish is paying this fund of $30,000.
So there would be no stops in between? It would be direct?
I'm not sure about the stops, Mr.
This is
Washington.
what they talked about at the budget session, where they talked about expanding the service.
No, I understand you want to go there, but I was saying, was there any opportunity? I don't know what's between.
Not
City.
much. Not much.
Yeah.
If you've ever driven, there's not a whole lot to stop between there and
There
that
will be
Walmart.
some additional stops, Councilman
sorry?
Bradford. There will be some additional
There will be
stops.
some additional stops.
There is a stop will be added at the library in North Shreveport.
Okay.
Along Highway 1 there.
Right.
We'll add a stop also. I think it's at the Silver Star Plaza right there.
Yeah, I know what it
So
is.
there's like 3 or 4 stops. There's also a stop right outside of the Walmart, and I think it's the Dairy Queen there.
Right.
And then we'll have one at the Walmart and one closer to the Fred's and the McDonald's
Would
as
that be
well.
an extension of the MLK?
That will be an extension. We will be doing rerouting some of the routes, as we talked about during the budget sessions. So some of the Russell Road routes, MLK routes, and the North Market route will change around. Actually, North Market route will serve this area, so Blanchard's.
Okay. And how many times a day would that go there?
6 times at this point.
6 times?
6 times. Yes, sir.
So what do you anticipate those riders that want to go to Walmart, where do you anticipate them to get on at?
So they can get on anywhere throughout the system and actually go to that Walmart now. But we're also looking at, me and you met maybe a year ago now. We talked heavily about the residents in North Shreveport not having access to Walmart without having to take a 35 to 45-minute trip to the other side of town.
Right.
So this provides them now a 10-minute destination down the road to Walmart or other attractions in that area.
So this route, one of the routes will go directly out of MLK to Walmart.
This route will go directly out of the MLK area into the Walmart.
Great. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And am I correct to understand from Councilman Fleury that we were giving them 2 fire trucks, but after the loss, we've reduced it to just 1 fire truck?
We have ones.
Being silly. I think he's trying to be funny.
All right. All right, introduction of ordinances, Mr. Crawford.
Mr. Chairman, introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to December the 11th. Ordinance 111 amends the 2018 Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 120, 121, 122, 123, and 126, or to adjust funds in accordance with the state legislative auditor's requirement the funds of the budget be within 5% of actual revenues and expenses. So starting with 120, amending the 2018 Riverfront Development Special Revenue Fund, decreasing revenues by $300,000 and taking the same amount off on the expense side. Resolution 121 amends the 2018 Downtown Entertainment Economic Development Area Special Revenue Fund, decreasing those funds by $28,000 on the revenue side, taking off the same amount on the expense side. Ordinance 122 amends the 2018 Grant Special Revenue Fund for $1 million, taking those off on the revenue side and decreasing the expense side. Ordinance 123 amends the 2018 general fund budget, taking off $1.5 million. This decreases on the external service charges, mainly for the landfill, on the revenue side, and taking the same amount off on the expense side. We talked about that at the budget hearing extensively. 124 amends the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2018 general fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized here, and this is to move $150,000 in Shreveport Police Department budget from personal services to various areas. $50,000 for attorney's fees, maintenance fees for the reporting management system is $70,000, and then increased jail costs for $30,000 is where that $150,000 is being distributed. Ordinance 125 amends the 2018 Community Development Special Revenue Fund for that 5% adjustment that I talked about earlier on the other four. This is $3 million that will be adjusted on the revenue and likewise on the expense side. 126, declaring the city's intention to acquire full ownership of certain adjudicated properties for Community Development's Heritage Place project. And Ordinance 127 is a zoning case, C-75-18. This is an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the northeast corner of Snow Street and Butler Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from C1 Neighborhood Commercial District to R3 Multifamily Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District.
125, could you repeat and help me on 125 again, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, 125 is to amend the 2018 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. This is part of the legislative auditor's requirement that the budget be within 5% for revenues and expenditures. And so that amount is being decreased by revenues not being realized by $3 million, and so we're decreasing that also on the expense side. Personal services was decreased by $400,000, contractual services by $600,000, and other charges by $2 million.
Okay. All right. Councilman Corbin?
Thank you. On 111, and I don't have to have the answer to this today. You can email it.
Absolutely.
That's fine. I'd like to know, with this adjustment, what the reserve is. And
It has. I can answer that now. It has no impact because we're taking off the revenues equitable to the expenses. It's a zero-sum game, so it doesn't impact the 2018 budget at all, and it doesn't impact the 2019 budget.
and then external water sales. What is
That is the sales tax, state sales tax rebate, where that 1.6 is being moved from the operating reserve into the external water sales. It's where the money was collected and deposited, and now it's being moved out of there so we can make those refunds. The other $1 million is going to the Rostec contract.
Perfect. Thanks.
Sure.
Rostec is a new bill. Is the new?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll go with the water one first. So that 1.6, we were supposed to remit to the state, or we're supposed to return to the commercial water users, and then they remit that money to the state. Tell me which one.
I'm going to let William answer this.
Just as a point of caution, this is a matter that we're currently litigating. We held an executive session on this one about a month ago, and I'd be happy to update you in an executive session on this.
Okay. Copy. Good enough on that. Next on community development. So that 300 million, well, 2 million was a fund balance that we thought was the 2017 end of year fund balance, right? But was it a federal federal revenues or grants that we were expecting that we didn't receive?
I'm going to let Fred come up or Charles can come up and talk about it specifically. But
This is a big number.
But more than likely it is, and it may be something that may be forthcoming in 2019. Charles.
Actually, on that one there, I need to get with Bonnie. I put that ordinance on there the way it is to get it on there, and I will do an amendment before you pass it. And that fund balance number will come down. It's not all going to hit fund balance. But I didn't know exactly what grants they weren't going to draw down this year, so I just used fund balance to have a number to put it on the agenda.
We had to put a placeholder in because we have to introduce it at this council meeting so it can be approved at
Yeah,
the
I mean,
December
they do
11th
have a
meeting.
lot of money they collect outside of the grants. I just use that as a filler for right now.
And then the overall, since you're up here, the majority of the general fund budget adjustment is solid waste?
Yes.
Solid
Right.
waste.
All those amendments are subject to, all those ordinances are subject to change based on what sales tax come in this current month.
The
Right.
actual figures.
Before the next meeting.
Thank you.
Right.
Anything else? Anyone else? All right. Second reading and final passage, Ms. Crawford.
Ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 79 notifies Union Pacific and other interested parties that the city engineer and director of public works through the office of the mayor are authorized to begin the process of reopening vehicular access to Lake Street from Commerce Street to Sci-Port Discovery Center, including reopening vehicular access to cross over the Lake Street Railroad grade crossing as specified therein. This has been postponed until December the 11th. Ordinance 115 to add Chapter 37 to the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances relative to creating a local codified registry identifying the city's official authorized, certified, and designated districts, including but not limited to cultural districts, economic districts, special taxing districts, opportunity zones, and historical districts, as well as including historic landmark sites, and individually designated historic properties listed on the National Register of Historic Places in the City of Shreveport, Louisiana. Ordinance 116 amends the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by establishing the General Historic Preservation Overlay District, General HPOD, for areas and properties as more fully identified and described herein, including properties within the boundaries of any National Registry of Historic Places, listed historic districts, and to also include individually NRHP listed properties falling outside the boundaries of any NRHP listed historic district in the City of Shreveport, Louisiana. Ordinance 117 closes and abandons an alley in the Culture subdivision of Tile 20, Shreveport in Section 37, T18 North, R14 West. And Ordinance 118 amends the 2018 budget for the general fund. This is for funding for the My Government Online for Public Works.
79. What exactly is supposed to happen on December 11th?
79.
As far
Or
as
79
This is Councilman
gonna be
Everson's
pushed back
legislation.
to be voted on again. You know, like we just postponed that last month to allow them to have some more time. They were making some progress with the discussions, and we just wanted to allow that progress to continue, so we push it back to
and I
December
remember
11th.
they were in agreement with that, so we've
Yeah.
the
So hopefully we'll have an update before December 11th of some kind, and
Yeah.
we can talk to the guys from, from the hotel and the other
Yes.
people again, and just, hopefully we'll all hear a little something back before then, and we'll know. I mean, it would surprise me if we walked into that meeting without some additional information. I think it seems like they're making progress, and I hope we'll have a little bit more before we go in.
you need something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Actually, we've been in conversation, with Union Pacific and with the railroad, not railroad, but with the transit from the national level. And, of course, we are hoping that they will concur with us and agree that, they can make it a quiet zone and let us do the construction. It is going to cost a little bit more because of the delay from, way back when. But we're going to pursue that, and we'll give them another call next week if we don't hear back from them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just another update, that you may have mentioned this, but I think I did hear, and I don't know if we were told that in the meeting or if this was after the meeting, But I did hear that this new project manager guy, I guess, has completed the design. Like the design is completed now, if I'm understanding that correctly. So that again, that's good. I mean, we continue to see more progress here. So that's great. Thank y'all for pushing that through.
And may I ask you, you mentioned calls not to the city.
Yes, we agreed to pay so much of the cost
Okay.
to erect the, is it the arm, the construction for the arm?
To fund
It's-
half of it.
Yeah, yeah. I
mean-
mean, that was agreed before we came aboard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm remembering that the hotel said they would
They're
contribute
going to
half.
incur half, yes.
The railroad was not responsible for any revenue, any.
No,
any
because
funding.
they don't really care.
They don't
It doesn't-
care.
No, it does not,
be honest, they don't
it does not, well, when I say they don't care, maybe that's.
No,
not
I mean,
the
I
right phrase.
understood what you meant.
Yeah,
I understood what you meant.
Yeah, it's going to impact the city, and it's going to impact that hotel
Yeah.
in terms of economic development
Sure.
opportunity. People don't want to stay down there if the train is blowing.
Blowing, yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm going to hope and trust that we can do it in a way where it won't be no inconvenient or interference with their ability to book rooms.
That's what we're working on. I think they started working on it in 14,
Yeah.
maybe, before we came
before we
aboard.
came on board.
Yeah, but we're pushing the button on it as fast as we can.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeff, you had something?
Oh, I was just going to let y'all know on that those historic ones that we have a public hearing on, 15 and 16, ordinance 15 and ordinance 115 and 116. Karen from the city attorney's office produced an updated summary sheet, and Adam, I'm sorry, as well, Adam Bailey. I'm not sure which of y'all actually updated it, but I know that Karen put it on our desks a little earlier, so that we're not confused about that. I know there's multiple pieces to that legislation, and this is just to let you know the first two we've already passed. Ordinance 115 is for a public hearing at this week's meeting, and then we could consider adopting it December 11th. Ordinance 116 can have a public hearing and be adopted at tomorrow's meeting, and it's got a little summary of what the difference is of those two. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, but you should have a little summary sheet at your desk, so that can help you keep track of it.
Will the MPC have a presentation?
Alan, do you think is the MPC going to introduce the public hearing tomorrow?
Yes, no.
Tomorrow,
Presentation.
just a brief presentation on it. That'll be good.
That's it? Yep. All right, Mr. Thompson?
We do have one property standards appeal, Mr. Chairman.
Gotcha. I'll make sure we have any legislation to be removed.
Gotcha.
Tape first. And those three. Okay. Mr. Green? One property standards appeal. It's in District F.
Yes.
She's not present, but I'm sure we
She had sent an email.
we got some instructions
You got some instructions, which I'm pleased to see.
from the invisible lady.
No, it's
Very pleased to see those
I'm
instructions.
surprised.
Okay. Case, the address for the case is 5231 Broadway Avenue. Okay. Structure had a fire in it. It's a manufactured home, and the owner has secured the property. They recently cut the grass. There is a cleanup that is left to pick up the little bit of the siding, mattress, the little debris there, and they have asked for 60 days for her to transfer everything over to her son. He's going to take it over and have a new mobile home placed there is what he said he was going to do, and but in 2 weeks for the remainder of the cleanup to be done.
So what's the recommendation?
60 days for the demolition, on the demolition part of it, 2 weeks for the cleanup part of it.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Been moved by Councilman Corbin and seconded by the chair. 60 days demolition and
It takes 2 weeks to clean up.
2 weeks on the cleanup. I don't know, we're going on the weather, so. Is there any discussion on that?
Were those the instructions that we got?
That was the instruction.
I didn't see them.
So Terrence, if there's a manufactured home in a neighborhood and it's removed, does that give the property owner the right to put another manufactured home in there, or do they?
Well, according to her, she has done her research and she has checked with zoning or what have you, and that she is grandfathered in to put another mobile home there.
That thumbs up, Alan?
Talked about that last year, I think, Councilman, but I don't remember that last year when we talked about this.
Yeah, we have had this conversation before, but I want to hear it again.
Just playing with semantics just a little bit. They are never grandfathered in. There is a provision in the ordinance, though, that allows for manufactured homes that are destroyed by natural causes or catastrophic causes to be able to be replaced by at least that manufactured home or one of greater value.
Of the same or greater value, right?
Yeah, same on three.
Mr. Clark, if you stand back close, I want to ask you a question. Not when
Yes,
you get time to initial comments. Not now. We're in public here. Now on this one, on a different.
You want me to
subject.
come back?
Different subject.
There's no discussion, there's one vote. Flurry. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent. All right. Any other appeals? No MPC. Are there any reports from office and board or committee? Councilman Corbin?
Audit and Finance Committee will meet at 1:30 tomorrow behind the chamber. And we have a number of audits to review.
Councilman Bradford, you have one?
Yeah, I have an inquiry, Mr. Clark.
Yes,
Clark,
sir.
I was notified this morning by a constituent, I don't think it's accurate, that someone had put an application to create a new liquor store in MLK area. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not aware of an application for a new liquor store, but I'll be happy to check it out.
Okay.
And get back with you.
Okay.
It would not just happen. It would have to go through a process.
I know it'll go through a process, but I mean, but they felt like the notifications had been out, and I'm not aware of it. So in that respect, and not only in an instance like a liquor store, if there's something that's coming for, or an application that's coming for the MPC that would affect a councilman's district before it get to appeal, is there any way you can notify the council people?
Councilman Bradford, I've been having conversations with the staff because that's something that I've always felt that was very important, that we have an opportunity to establish dialogue with city council persons and parish commissioners about events that will be occurring in their districts. So when they begin to get calls, they will be well informed of those type of events. We know what hot button issues are,
Sure.
and it's in the future. It is our intention to
make certain that you're made aware of these type of issues.
I appreciate that. So, in the reference of what I mentioned earlier, the former mayor of this city is on social media criticizing this council for allowing the liquor store to be placed on Hearn Avenue. Are you familiar with that location?
I am familiar with the Hearn Avenue liquor store that went through the necessary processes in order to be allowed to be placed there.
I've polled a couple of council members. To our recollection, this application did not come before this body. Is that true or not? Because I don't remember.
That is probably true because it did not require the rezoning of the property. It was, if I remember correctly, it was a special exception use approval that was granted by the ZBA that predated the Unified Development Code. And those applications never came before this body unless they were appealed.
You saw?
It did not come before.
I mean, you saw the criticism. Okay. So
I was specifically mentioned in it. So.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah. So I did get a little notification that.
Well, anyway,
it's actually your area, but
which one?
To the bottom is actually on her.
I think this was down by the racetrack.
Yeah, right next to in front of Wendy's there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't. I mean, it was. I thought it was disingenuous for the approach that was taken. I mean, I think we vet and review and do what we feel is right for our districts, but this never appeared before us.
And like I said, if you recall, prior to the Unified Development Code, all liquor uses were special exception uses, and that was part of a previous administration's desire many years ago to eliminate liquor stores in certain inner city neighborhoods.
Okay.
And that's why they became special exception use approvals. And if I'm remembering correctly, this was a special exception use approval. And if I remember correctly, there was little to no opposition to the application, and there was not an appeal launched due to the ZBA's decision to approve the application, and therefore there was no need for any further actions.
Okay. I just wanted to understand that.
I will make certain that was the case.
Do that, and as well as if you see any application for any type of liquor establishment in my district, let me know.
And we'll be happy to. And like I said to you, we consistently review the processes that we utilize to make them more user-friendly and to make them better tools for elected officials to utilize. And those that have and will always be hot-button issues, and as they come up, we will either notify you or come up with recommendations or amendments to make them to increase the scrutiny that's exercised to their approvals.
Thank you, sir. And I want to let you know you have a friend in Councilman Florida. He thinks to work.
I am happy to have a friend in Councilman Florida.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, please. Question for Councilman Bradford. Is that the same former mayor that plugged the budget for Center Point incorrectly on purpose? Is that the same one?
I can give you a litany.
Incorrect data?
I can give you a litany of things that I thought the former mayor should be held accountable for.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on top of that, Mr. Thompson, I was reminded that I didn't get an official report from you, so I wanted to check and see. Our next door neighbor asked me about it, so I wanted to make sure that we got a clerk's report.
Which one?
Next door.
I saw you with the binder earlier, and I thought maybe you had an extensive report for us.
Well, the report that I will come up with is that tomorrow we will ask you to remove from the table the 2019 budget ordinances so that they can be placed on the regular agenda for the 11th, December the 11th meeting.
If there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.